Here's my tech guy. Senior Hector getting underneath in the early at the start of the fight there. Big scoop, flipping itself over on the rollers and then trying to unflip itself, only to get flipped, and then uses the wall with a bit more success. Senior Hector definitely seems to have the better ground game, getting under Big Scoop more consistently so far in this fight. Big Scoop finally getting underneath Senior Hector and getting a nice pin. He can hold for 10 seconds to earn those points with the judges. He does pull off and release. Senior Hector getting punted up on those arena rollers, and he's now upside down with one pit now open. Not the best position to be in. He can try and flip himself on the rollers again, or maybe against a wall. Or he can even try and flip himself driving up Big Scoop's ramp. Hey! Hey! Still managed to land his upside down though. So nice flip, but didn't quite get the result he probably wanted out of it. Big Scoop going for another pin, earn a few more points with the judges. And he does release. Oh, Senior Hector finally getting back on his wheels correctly. And he gets to the ground, again, gets underneath and pushes him out the pit. Pickerbot using Smee as a ramp there just to drive up onto the foam rollers itself. Smee looking like it might be a little bit stuck there. Is it high centered upside down by the looks of it? It is able to move. Pickerbot is technically pinning at the moment. It will need to release. There we go. Pickerbot has now released. Smee upside down, looking like it's trying to get right side up, but still managing to pin anyway. All right, Smee now needs to release as well. It has pinned for 10 seconds. Pickerbot going in for the pin now. Lots of pinning in this fight. That's fine. They're both trying to earn those points for the judges if it does go to it. Smee so wide, I'm not even sure if it would go down the pit. It would certainly have to go down the pit sideways if it was to go down the pit. And even then, the wheel might hit the door and may not fully go down. So we may find out whether it can actually go down the pit or not. There is technically no size limit on the robots as long as it fits inside the arena. It does not have to necessarily fit down the pit. If you want to build a robot big enough that it can't, then all the more power to you. But if you manage to make it within weight, congratulations. Both bots doing a bit of a tango there, just going for a bit of a dance. Arm in arm, twirling across the dance floor. Smee seeming like it has a little bit more traction than Pickerbot. Seeming to outpush Pickerbot just a little bit. Pickerbot now looks like its wheel is turning, but it might be a little bit high centered on one side. All right, that's 10 seconds. Smee needs to release once again. Pickerbot reversing the pin immediately. All right, that fight is going to go to the judges. Doorstop very, very quick off the square in this fight. It's got some pretty fast motors in it there. So in order for a knockout to occur with the Three Musketeers, 2 out of the 3 robots needs to be disabled. Often teams will just go and get all 3 anyway, but if 2 of the robots are disabled, that is more than 50% of the weight, which means it is a victory to the other team. But if the Three Musketeers is able to keep at least 2 robots running through to the end of the match, then they will still be in for a judge's decision. Doorstop getting a really nice punt off the arena rollers there. Three Musketeers does seem to be down 1 robot currently already. Don't know whether it's been switched off or something else has gone wrong there. Been turned off. So Three Musketeers here, they are 4-wheel drive, but 2 of the wheels are driven by a rubber band powering the front wheels from the rear wheels, or maybe the other way around. You can really use all sorts of household items when making robots. Pickerbot in the previous match uses wristbands for its wheels. Yep. They're all playing the dangerous game, hanging in that corner as the pit opens. We do now have that pit open. Oh, we might have a victory. Hey! go. All right, so low standards here is just a very low wedge. It's designed to get under other robots ideally and have them sort of sit up on top of the ground with them. Jerry is a wedge with a flipper arm on it. It's intended to sort of flip the other people around. Low standards giving a good example of what it's intended to do right now. Get the other robot stuck on top, but he must release the other robot at some point, ideally by slamming against the wall or into the foam rollers, just like that. There we go. Jerry now stuck on the foam rollers, but he can knock himself down by activating his flipper there. So low standards can't self-right if it is flipped upside down, so he is playing a bit of a risky game there. He needs to try and get a victory before that happens. Jerry holding a bit of a pin there, keeping low standards on top of himself in revenge for earlier. We have the first pit opening now. So one of our pits is now open. Low standards going for a pin, but does need to release. There we go. Jerry going for the spin and a spot strategy. Not always a bad idea. Unfortunately stuck on top of low standards again. Low standards once again doing what it's intended to do. Throwing Jerry into those foam rollers. But Jerry should be able to sort of knock himself down, hopefully. Keep waggling. There we go. Low standard's going to give him a helping hand there, although he is pushing him closer to that pit. Alrighty. What's going to... there we go. Fling driving straight for those arena rollers. Don't know if that's necessarily the smartest idea at the start of the fight, although he did convince Pink Scoop to throw himself into it, so maybe it was a good strategy. Pink Scoop standing up now. He's decided that maybe he should put a bit of effort into this fight and not just relax the entire time. All right, Pink Scoop getting a pin there. He can hold for a few more seconds before he does have to release. Pink Scoop pushing Fling into those arena rollers. Pink Scoop once again going for another pin. It does look like those new wheels on Pink Scoop there are giving him quite good traction. Those wheels are very heavy though, so it's a bit of a compromise. You can put a lot of weight into your wheels and get good traction, but you don't have much weight for the rest of your robot. Once again, pushing Fling into the arena rollers, definitely doing a good job there, scoring points for the judges. The pit is open, however. Oh, Pink Scoop almost just killing himself out of the arena there. There's nothing worse than driving down the pit of your own accord. It happens to the best of us. You haven't really done robot combat until you've done it at least once. All right, the other pit is now opening, so both pits are open. Will we see someone go down, intentionally or unintentionally? Or will this go the last minute to the judges? Oh! Jerry looking like it's possibly having some signal issues or something else going wrong with it there. First pit is open. Push it stuck up on his side. Can he get himself down? If he can't get himself down, he can't move. Ah, there we go. Jerry being nice and knocking himself back down. Yep. Ah, fair enough. Brett going for the pin there while he can, knowing that he can't win that ground game, so he's got to take every opportunity possible. Tribot doing a pretty good job so far of keeping on top of Brick, though, and getting him stuck up on his wedge. Brick just tumbling himself in circles against the wall. It's something that you can do on a pin that looks like you at least got some control, I guess. That first pit's probably going to be opening soon. First pit is open. Oh, both robots dangerously close to the pit as it opened. Can Tribot push Brick down that pit? Oop. Oh! That first pit's going to be opening any moment now. Stockbot looking like it was lined up for a moment there to get Chicken down the pit, but it has managed to get out of it. Ninja Chicken pecking away vigorously there at Stockbot. right, that second pit's now opening. Will we see one down the pit, or will we go to the judges on this fight? Stockbot somewhat managing to get Chicken into the corner. Although Chicken trying to reverse it and push Stockbot into the corner instead. All right, that fight is going to go to the judges. Green Meanie effectively utilising the arena rollers there to self-right himself. Very quick robots here, these two. They are both very quick drive, zipping around the arena. Anthony Flippin' Easy doing a very good job of utilising his flipper to toss Green Meanie around, however, which is definitely going to go well for the judges if you do go there. That's 4, 5, 6 flips in a row. Another one. Oh, flipped himself that time. All right, our first pit is open. Green Meanie's seeming to spend about half the fight upside down as opposed to right side up. Anthony Flippin' Easy doing a very good job of controlling the fight, but Green Meanie finally getting a nice pin. Anthony Flippin' Easy, however, managing to flip himself or shake himself off that pin though. Green Meanie getting another pin. Green Meanie seeing if he can turn it around in the later half of the fight for the judges. Both pits are now open. Alright, we are getting close to the end of this fight. Will we see a pit or will it go to the judges? If it does go to the judges, it's not going to be looking good for Green Meanie. Despite getting a few pins, it is definitely on the back foot. Oh, Green Meanie has done the thing. He's stuck against the wall. We're going to do a countdown. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That is a knockout. Oh. Pierre sort of hugging Cookie there. He's kind of missing a bit, hugging over the top. It's the equivalent of, I guess, hugging Cookie's head. But doing a pretty good job out driving so far, although Cookie looking like it might be able to sort of turn that around. Cookie doing a good job there, pushing Pierre into those arena rollers. That will get him some points with the judges once again. The first pit is now open. Oh, can Cookie push Pierre into the pit from there? That's a good lineup. Unfortunately, no. Pierre managing to spin out of it. Both robots seeming to be about even in pushing power. One can't quite outpush the other. Cookie's dome-shaped design doing a pretty good job of stopping Pierre from actually being able to sort of hug him there. The arms just sort of end up slipping up and over. Pierre pushed up onto those arena rollers. Can he shake himself off? He can. The other pit's going to be opening soon. Both bots are close to it though. Whoop. Alright, both pits are now open. Once again, both robots seeming to have pretty even drive power. They're both not really able to outpush the other too easily. Alright, we're almost at the tail end of this fight. It's looking like this one will go to the judges. Pierre stuck on the arena rollers again. Oh, flipped up onto his back, but he is able to self-right. Almost went down the pit there. You need another one, just come and grab it. I'll put this one here. If you need more, just go down there. And just see me at the end of the day and we'll sort out whatever it is. The motors are pretty cheap. Smee looks like it may have lost movement there. I can still see the LED on, so it looks like it's got power, but it's not moving. All right, that is a count out for Smee. Go. It's always an interesting situation going up against multiple robots. Although Jerry managing to pin all three of them immediately in the corner. That is some pretty smooth strategy right there. Why pin one when you can pin all three, but then all three of them pinning him in return. One of the three musketeers there using Jerry as a ramp to do some sweet jumps. The pit's not quite open there yet, Jerry. You got another 30 or seconds or so before that'll open. Oh, never mind. It's open already. Two of them are right there on the brink. Oh, there we go. The red and black bot is ramming the other red and black bot. Fling got a good lineup there, but doesn't seem to quite have the pushing power. Tribot doing a pretty good job of getting underneath Stockbot there. Tribot going for his second win. Will he have a winning streak on his first competition? Tribot accidentally hitting those arena rolls and flipping himself upside down. He can either run into him again and try and flip himself right side up, but he's got to be careful going near that pit that's open. All right, that second bit is opening up. And from flipping easy, very quick out of the gate. Very fast motors on that bot. And Cookie's been flipped upside down, and he can't self-right or drive, and that's a tap out. Inverse with a bit of drive trouble on one side, but still managing to do a pretty decent job of keeping on top of Pickabot. Pickabot, a very interesting shaped design there. Really cool drive mechanism with the belts there wrapping around the entire robot, meaning no matter which side it is on, it still has drive, no matter what orientation, unless it somehow gets stuck like end on end. But the ends are curved, which in theory means that shouldn't be able to happen. Inverse sitting a bit crooked on the ground there. Definitely looks like there's something a bit warped or bent with the frame. Ah, the wheel's fallen off. There we go. I can't quite see that from here. Oh, now I can see it. That's a bit more obvious. Well, having a wheel fall off is generally not what you want in one of these fights, but we still need to see what ends up happening. Pickabot, really cool design. Doesn't really have too much pushing power unless it gets just the right angle, unfortunately. Alright, we have 1 minute left in this fight. Not 1 hour. That would be a very long fight. Don't think the batteries would last that long. We have 1 minute left in this fight. Both pits are now open. Alright, we are almost at the end of this fight. Inverse getting another good little flip on Pickabot there. And another one, just trying to get those last few points for the judges as his wheel finally finishes falling off the bot. That only took about 2 minutes. Oh, and now he's managed to get the wheel stuck under him. He's managed to get himself off. Alright, that fight is going to go to the judges. Don't forget to turn the arena rollers on. All right, not a doorstop gang. One extra little flip in there at the end. Great work from both our competitors. Go. Low standards, putting those arena rolls to use pretty much straight away, reversing into it, pushing the Three Musketeers into it. Three Musketeers seeming to hit each other more than their opponent. You guys are supposed to be a team. This isn't a four-way fight, guys. It's supposed to be 3-on-1. You're supposed to be ganging up. Well, Low Standards has one of them pinned at least. Three Musketeers, one of them's managed to get a pin there. The other one's coming in to help. All right, that pit's opening in 3, 2, 1. Oh, that was the wrong pit. That's not the one that you're on. Oh, hang on. Sorry. Pause. I flicked the switch too far. That's my bad. See, this is why I do the commentary and not the arena controls. We will try and go back to roughly how that was, which I think was about that.
Probably reset to 2 minutes on the clock.
I'll restart that a little bit in. My apologies. This is why this is not my job normally. Okay. One pit. That one. All right. We're going to continue in 3, 2, 1, go. All right. Continue pinning him in the corner for a few seconds. All right. You can pin for 5 more seconds, then you guys are going to have to release. All right. They are going to release now. One of them drove straight into the arena rollers. We are able to get out. They're getting there. All right. All right, we are now halfway into this fight. All robots are still functioning. One of the Three Musketeers flipping himself upside down. Managing to flip himself right side up again. Ooh, good punt on the arena roller there. All right, the other pit is opening for realsies this time. All right, both pits are now open. Oh, this is not looking good for Low Standards. No, he managed to get out of it. That was looking very good for the Three Musketeers for a moment there. They might have been able to get it. Oh! So fling and push it in this fight. Both these robots have not won a fight today, unfortunately. So both of them are... One of them is going to get their first victory. One of them is going to get their first win for the day. We just need to see who it is. All right, we got 1 minute left in this fight. Neither robot so far with much of an advantage. Push it, seeming like it's having a lot of trouble turning. With both pits now open, it might be a good opportunity for Fling to possibly try and get him lined up to push him down the pit. Oop. Push it, accidentally reversing onto those rollers there and flipping himself upside down. And tries to self-right, but still ends up upside down. Oop. Dangerous game sitting next to the pits like that. We're last few seconds in this fight. But, there we go. Getting dangerously close to that pit there. It's not where you want to be. Jerry doing a good job of making him sort of tumble himself out of those pins. Looks like Pink Scoop had a good line up there for a second. Both pits are now open. We do have 1 minute left in this fight. Pink Scoop definitely with a bit more control in this fight. And there we go. Brick with quite good traction with the four-wheel drive there and pretty chunky wheels, able to sort of out-push Stockbot quite easily. Push him into that wall. Interestingly enough, the logo painted in the middle of the arena floor is a bit slipperier than the rest of the arena. So you actually get a bit less traction in the very middle of the arena there, which we did see right there. Once they sort of get off that paint, it's a bit more traction. You got a bit more pushing power. Stuff like this is stuff you want to keep in mind as a builder when you are fighting, is just different parts of the arena can be a little bit different to drive. Brick getting in lots of pins so far in this fight. Definitely trying to get those points up for if it does go to the judges. Stockbot doing its best to try and sort of get around the side of Brick and sort of out-push him, but not with much luck so far. So, I may have mentioned it earlier, but I'll mention it again. When you are pinning your opponent, you can pin for 10 seconds before you must release. When you do release from a pin, you must give your opponent a reasonable opportunity to get out of that pin or wall or corner or whatever it is they were stuck in. You can pin them again afterwards, but you just need to give them a chance to get away from that pin. Every time you are pinning your opponent, you are earning points for the judges under control. Both pits are now open. We have 1 minute left in this fight. If Brick can get a nice line up, he will be able to push Stockbot out, but he's got to be very careful not to accidentally drive himself out, which can happen. With both those pits open, all it does take is one wrong input or just a slight slip up, and you will find yourself down that pit, either your opponent pushing you through or yourself driving down. We've got only a few seconds left in this fight. If we do not see someone go down the pit, it will go to the judges. All right, that fight is going to go to the judges. Ninja Chicken doing everything it can to peck his opponent to death. Tribot pushing Ninja Chicken into those rollers. Tribot accidentally flipping himself over on the rollers, but trying to flip himself back again with mixed success so far. There we go, he's managed to flip himself back over and push Ninja Chicken straight back into those rollers. Alright, we're 1 minute into this fight. That first pit is going to open, which is the one on the blue square side. Tribot now has the opportunity to try and push Chicken down there, which he is able to do so. All right, we've got about 45 seconds left in this fight. Both pits are down. Green Meanie going in with a good pin, trying to earn those points to the judges in the latter half of the fight. when we are judging, we do try to make sure we judge the entire fight, but quite often the last 60 seconds is the most freshest thing in your mind. So doing well in the last half of the fight generally is a bit of an advantage over the first half. Anthony flipping easy, getting a good, quick, early flip on Pierre, tossing him around the arena. Quite a good, fast flipper on Anthony there. Trying to see if he can toss Pierre over that wall, but he doesn't quite able to get the height there needed. I reckon with the right toss, he would be able to do it. Pierre currently spending a lot of time on his back, but he is able to self-right. That mechanism there, that little green sort of bow tie thing on the top, is able to self-right Pierre when he is upside down. Well, Pierre giving Anthony a good hug there. Oh, Pierre got a really good hug there on Anthony. Managed to grab him. That's exactly what you want. Now the pit's open. Is he able to drive over there? Alrighty. Go. All right, that first pit's going to be opening in 10 seconds. Three, two, one. All right, first pit is now open. How long will it take till we see someone get knocked out? We do not want to do a freeway judge. So if I don't see someone get knocked out, I'm going to be an unhappy person. We're now halfway through this fight. We've got 1.5 minutes remaining. Both pits are now open. We got 1 minute left in this fight. I want to see someone go down a pit. Tribot looking like he had a good setup there for a moment, but unfortunately he ended up in the screws instead. Oh, that's looking good. Alrighty, there we go. All right, that's it, guys. All right, so Inverse was our previous champion. Unfortunately, with 2 losses, it looked like they weren't going to be making the tournament, but turns out with the way their group went, they do get 1 extra chance to still make the tournament. Inverse hasn't lost a wheel this time, which is always a good start. Commentator's curse. I'm not wishing it happens again. Alright, that first pit is about to open as both robots team up to push me onto the screws, or the rollers. Oh, Smee almost looked like he might have tossed himself out of the arena on the rollers there. Oop, 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 oh, oh, alrighty. That's looking like Smee might be out. Yep, there we go. Alright, we are down to 2, but we do need a single winner, so we do still have more of this fight to go. It's either going to be inverse or pick a bot. The other pit will be opening soon-ish. Oh no, inverses, stop moving. All right, I'm going to have to count down. Oh, no. All right, the other pit is opening. Oh no, that's not where you want to be. Ah. We are 1 minute into this fight. First pit is dropping. Now is the opportunity for one of them to try and go for that win. Oh, that could happen. One minute left in this fight. Both pits are now open. Anthony flipping easy, getting a lot of good flips in, but Brick definitely got some good wheels and drive motors there. Wow, Brick almost had a good opportunity there to reverse Anthony flipping easy into the pit, but Didn't quite make it. Wow. Is it reverse or is it not? It's hard to tell. Which way is forward on that bot? That is indeed the question. Needs to put a giant arrow this way, forwards, this way back. Or maybe the strategy is to confuse the opponent by not having them know. All right, that fight is going to go to the judges. I think it's pretty easy. Somebody got flipped over about 400. All right, the win there going to Anthony flipping easy. That is technically a pin. Give a few more seconds, then you must release. All right, let's see a release there on that pin. 1 minute into this fight, that first pit is going to open. Oh, Jerry managing to grab onto the scoop there. Unusual way to use your little flipper there, but hey, it works. If it's stupid, but it works, it works. Oh, another grab there on the wheel. Once again, not necessarily what's intended to do, but hey, if it works. Oh, can he do it without going down himself? Yes, he can. All right, Tribot versus Pierre. Pierre trying to give Tribot some nice hugs. Tribot, this is his first competition, so he's going to see how far he can get into the tournament. Tribot definitely having the geometry advantage here if he can keep his front face onto Pierre. However, if he gets side on, unfortunately Pierre can get a good grab. That pit isn't quite open yet though. Pierre's just got to do that again in about 20 or so seconds when the pit opens. Oop, another good grab there. Tribot managing to get out of it. All right, 1 minute into this fight, that pit is going to open. Pierre's going to want to try and get another good grab and push Tribot into the pit. Otherwise, Tribot is going to want to try and stay away from it. Tribot upside down from hitting the rollers, however. He's going to see if he can self-right somehow. Ooh. Unfortunately, upside down for Tribot is actually really bad for him because it makes it even easier for Pierre to grab him. Oh, there you go. Tribot using those rollers. Oh, oh. Looked like he might have had it for a moment, but he still ended up upside down. Oop. Pierre hitting the rollers this time. Tribot having a bit of a rough time trying to self-right. Every time it looks like he's right side up, he's upside down again. Both robots just chilling on the rollers. Both robots just having a bit of fun. Tribot might be stuck, however. If we don't see movement, it will be a countdown in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Send your Hector straight off the gate into the wall. Very, very quick zippy drive. Both teams trying to sort of feel each other out, get under the other. Inverse getting some good flips in early. Inverse trying to see if he can get Senior Hector over the wall early, not having much luck. Inverse did win its final in the last match by throwing a robot over the wall. It is possible. One minute into the fight, the first pit is now open. Senior Hector spending a good amount of this fight upside down. Both pits are now open. We have 1 minute left in this fight. Seconds left in this fight. Both robots pretty in control. We might not get a pit. It might go to the judges. Oh! 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 Let's see if the Three Musketeers have finally learned to actually work as a team, or if they're going to continue to bicker amongst themselves. All right, that pit's not quite open yet. All right, that pit's opening in 3, 2, 1. A minute into this fight, that pit is now open. Oh, that was looking good for the Three Musketeers for a moment, but unfortunately it did not quite work out. Anthony just taking turns, flipping each of them in time. Nice little flip from that one. Actually knocked him into the air a bit. Both pits are open. Both teams are staying well away from them though. Whoop. Don't want to accidentally drive down the pit now. All right, that's a good pin there from the Three Musketeers. Can the Three Musketeers somehow maybe push him down the pit before the time runs out? Doesn't look like it. Looks like this one will be going to the judges. Alrighty. Valiant effort from both teams. This one will go to the judges. And let's not turn the rollers on. Pierre off to a good start, giving Pink Scoop a nice hug, pushing him into those rollers. And then against the wall. Good pin there. Pierre using its weapon quite effectively so far in this fight. Nice hug. Pierre, a really interesting mechanism in that robot. One servo activates both the arms and that little green self-righter on the front. A little bit early for that pit to open there, boys. All right, that pit's going to open in 5 seconds. All right, that pit is now open. We have 2 minutes left. Not a good position to be in for Pierre. Pink Scoop trying to turn it around a little bit. Oh, no. Pierre managing to drive out. Pink Scoop almost driving in. All right. Both teams resetting. Both trying to sort of get that line up to get the other one down the pit. Oh, Pierre with a bit of a hug. Might have been in a good spot there, but unfortunately Pink Scoop got out. Pierre with another grab. Can he turn it around? No, Pink Scoop managing to get out, but Pierre in a bad spot. Both teams once again resetting. About 10 seconds till the other pit opens. Oh, Pierre for a good hug. Pink Scoop then gently dropped off the edge of the arena. Three Musketeers with a good sort of like moving pin, so to say, there on inverse. Three Musketeers recently sort of redesigned themselves after, they've been around for a few years now, but they recently did a redesign and it seems to be paying off for them quite well, I do have to say. Inverse trying to throw one of them over the wall. Downside of being much lighter robots is you are a lot easier to flip. Point in case. Oh! I want to see Pierre hug all 3 robots at the same time at some point in this fight. I won't be very disappointed. I want a nice big group hug. Everyone get in there. Everyone get in there. Nice big group hug.